Hey y'all, it's Jazz, your fave mental health enthusiast, and welcome back to Jazz's Corner, where we discuss all things related to mental wellness. And in today's video, we are going to be chatting about why you should be kind to yourself, which is always easier said than done. And in this video, I'm going to give 7 ways on how you can be more intentional with your self-love journey. So if that is something that interests you, then stay tuned to hear what I have to say on the matter. Cue the intro. So, why be kind to yourself? More like, why not be kind to yourself? For starters, it's in style. A little birdie told me that it is all the rage to be kind to yourself these days. And from all the reviews that I have heard, it is praised for the healthy impact that it has on individuals and the overflowing abundance of positive energy that it invites into one's life. So yeah, if it's in style, like, why are we not doing it? My second reason why you should be kind to yourself is that it can change your outlook on life. So for example, if you are consistently putting yourself down, then you are more likely to believe that you can't do something, versus if you are continually uplifting yourself, then you are more likely to go for it. Case in point, I will use myself as an example. For a long time, I felt very uncomfortable speaking in public spaces. And so even though I wanted to start a YouTube channel for like years, I always felt like I couldn't do it. But eventually I just figured, why not? I like talking about mental health, and I feel like people could really benefit from hearing me talk about mental health. So I'm just gonna do it. And here I am, like 7-8 videos in. And even though it's really awkward for me to sit inside of my room and talk to myself, I have reframed my approach from thinking that starting a YouTube is something that I can't do, and speaking to public audiences is something that I can't do, into thinking that, sure I can do it, or I can at least try. So that is essentially what I have been doing. I've been trying, and it's been well received so far. So yeah. The third reason why you should start being kind to yourself immediately is because, as I mentioned in my boundaries video, consistency starts with self. So if you can't show yourself kindness, then how can you ask for kindness from others? There are people who, will be kind to you in life, but you should make sure that you are always kind to yourself. That way you can set that standard of what you will and won't allow in terms of interpersonal relationships with other people. If we just tiptoe around life saying, I wish people would be kind to me, then, of course there's going to be people that will be kind to you. But if you lead your life with this aura of, I am kind to myself, so I'm not putting up with disrespect from other people, then you will, 1, be more likely to get the people out of your life who are not being kind to you, and 2, you will have set that standard for yourself, so you will, 1, know what it looks like to be treated in a manner that you would like to be treated, because you're treating yourself in that manner, and 2, you can hold other people accountable to that because you have already set that standard. I think that this is very important, especially if you are a part of a community that has historically been treated a certain way. So for example, I can say that I am an African American female. I know the history that comes with that. I know the societal and institutional barriers that come with being, one, a female, and two, an African American female. So I have, belonging to both of those communities, I can see how I have historically been treated, and how I personally navigate life is, one, trying to break down barriers, and two, just knowing that I am worthy of respect, I am worthy of love, I am worthy of comfort, I am worthy of, I already said respect, but you can never have too much respect. I am worthy of just softness and understanding and empathy and all of those things. So I try to give myself those things first, because even if the world tries to not give me those things, then I at least am receiving it from myself. I am able to comfort myself. I am able to give myself empathy. I am able to give myself love. And in turn, if there's like a whole bunch of us that's a part of like these communities, and we're all kind of shifting our mindset to say, I am deserving of these things, then collectively there could be a shift where at a societal and institutional level, the greater world also sees that we are worthy of love, respect, empathy, compassion, caring, more respect, all of those things. So I hope that made sense. So my last reason for why you should treat yourself with respect is like heavily linked to the third reason that I spoke about, and that is that it helps you set boundaries. So for example, if you are treating yourself with respect and love and compassion, you will be much more likely to notice when somebody is not treating you with respect, love, and compassion, and you will be more likely to set a boundary with that person. Because I am telling you, being kind to yourself and showing yourself self-love is life-changing. Like, I really remember just being out here letting people treat me any kind of way, and as soon as I started setting standards and boundaries and showing myself love and compassion and respect, I literally stopped all of that at the door. I'm down to have difficult conversations with the people that I love, but if you are just like a regular Joe, I apologize to the regular people named Joe out there. If you were just a regular Joe, like, I'm sorry, I do not have the time for it. Like, no, it's not, like, I'm not just gonna let you come into my life and disrespect me and bring me out of the peace that I have curated for myself. Like, that's not how I'm out here living my life. So if you haven't noticed already, I'm definitely team self-love, team self-compassion, team self-empathy, all of those things. And so the next part of this video will just be me giving 7 ways that you can be more intentional on your own self-love journey, whether you're just starting your journey or like you've been navigating your journey for quite some time, or you're like a vet up in this thing, like you know what you're doing. And if you know what you're doing, definitely like comment below on what you're doing in your self-love journey. But first I'm gonna go ahead and skedaddle into these 7 ways. Yeah, we're gonna do that. All right, so the first way that you can be more intentional with your self-love journey is just meeting your basic needs. Self-love does not have to be flashy. It does not have to be fancy. Sometimes it is as simple as 1, 2, 3. So I personally believe that humans are like flowers and that they need sunlight, food, and water, the 3 basic necessities. And so much like flowers, we gotta go outside to engage in photosynthesis and, you know, get those mood boosters from being outside in the blazing heat. Well, maybe not the blazing heat, but it is good to like go outside every once in a while. And definitely, you know, you need water, you need food, And I can definitely say that I drank a lot of water while I am recording these videos, because I have noticed that the more like dry my mouth is, the more tongue-tied I get, and I'm already not that strong of like a oral communicator, so I gotta make sure like I stay watered up, for like lack of better terms. So yeah, sometimes it's as simple as just making sure that you've gotten some sunlight, you've gotten some water, you've gotten some food, and you've gotten some rest. Like, we can't be out here trying to live to our full potential on like 2 hours of sleep, unless that is truly the way that your circadian rhythm is like ticking. And your circadian rhythm is just kind of like your internal processes related to sleep. So if you are naturally wired to only sleep for 2 hours, okay, go live your best life. But if you know for a fact that you need like anywhere from like 6 to 8 hours, stop playing, go get you some sleep now. Oh, well, finish the video first, and then, you know, go take a nap or something. Yeah. Number 2 is to give yourself some grace. So there may be times where things don't go the way that we planned, or we mess something up, because we can't get everything right every single time. Then life would not be fun. I mean, it's definitely not fun when you mess up, but if we were like perfect in all ways and angles, then what room is there for growth? And just say like something embarrassing happens, it's okay. Give yourself some grace and practice acceptance and compassion in those moments. I look back on a lot of the shenanigans that I engaged in when I was younger and growing up. I mean, I'm still growing, but I just practice a lot of self-acceptance, and I let myself know that it's okay. And to go with that point, I will tell a mini story time. So when I went off to college, this was freshman year. When I went off to college, I had these grand ideas that people in college dressed however they wanted to dress. They could wear their PJs. They could go to class in their PJs, to wear whatever they wanted. And I just, you know, I was so excited. I was like, I want to go to school in my PJs. And so I remember showing up to school one day, and I was wearing like a whole onesie. It was a full-blown onesie with like little feet and everything. And so I'm just walking around in my onesie because I thought that, you know, me and my friends were all up in this thing. Like, we were all in this together. I was like, hey, y'all, let's show up in our PJs. And they were like, haha, yeah, sure, Jazz, sure. And so I'm like, yeah, you know, we're all going to show up. We're all going to be in this thing. And I showed up, and we all showed up, and I was the only one there wearing pajamas. They all thought I was joking. But I had never been more serious about anything in my life. Like, I really wanted to wear a onesie to school. And mind you, like, I had to get on the bus to get to school. I had to walk around campus in this onesie. And not only that, I was in the honors program in college, and the honors program director was like, hey, she let all the honors kids know. She was like, hey, the president's downstairs. Like, y'all should go chat with him. Y'all should know, you know, go like schmooze, go get some free food and go talk. And I'm like, I was very fearless at this point in my life. Well, I'm still fairly fearless. I would say I didn't have a lot of situational awareness at this point in my life. So I was like, sure, I'm gonna go talk to the president of this university in my onesie, and I don't care. So there is actual photographic footage of me talking to the president of the university in my onesie, and I will pop it over here somewhere. So photographic proof, not clickbait. And looking back, that's really embarrassing. And I also did a lot of other things when I was in college. Like, I held a funeral for a blanket, and it was a mass production. I also dropped a lot of mixtapes and / parody videos while I was in college, and I just did like all kinds of things. I was just living my best life in college, and I would not take any of that back. Like, it was a whole mood for me back then. Like, I would do those things, I didn't care, and a lot of people really admired me for doing those things. So it wouldn't make sense for me to, you know, feel embarrassed now that I'm like grown and out of college, when a lot of people looked up to me because I did those things. I was so fearless and, you know, really didn't care. Like, that is who I was in that moment. And I mean, I'm still technically like that, but you know, a more like refined version, like smooth, like butter now. And so I'm really just trying to say, you might look at a memory as being embarrassing, but it's probably something that, if nothing else, added to your character. You can look back on that and say, okay, that did happen. And I guess what's most important is how you worked through that embarrassment and what came next after that embarrassment. Because I mean, I reflect on my embarrassing moments in a positive manner, but maybe it was something like really embarrassing and you can't really like reflect on it in like a positive way. So I guess I'll give a story time about that too, but in the next clip. All right, so another story time, and this one is one that I actually felt a lot of embarrassment about for like a year. I'm cool now, but I definitely felt a lot of embarrassment about this for a year. So when I was younger, there was this guy who lived in my neighborhood that I had a crush on, and so we rode the same bus together. And this was in the good old days of the DS. This is the culprit that ruined my life right here in the flesh. And so me and one of my really good friends, like still really good friend to this day, so if you're watching, I'm sure you know exactly what the story is. So we're on the bus, and this was in the days of the DS. So, you know, we're on the DS chat. We're just chatting it away. We're just, ha ha ha, wow, LOL, that's so funny. And we're just chatting, and if anybody had a DS back in the day, you know that you could go into the chat room and write things, draw things, and the chat room was up to 30 people could be in a chat room, I believe, about 30, and it was just whoever was nearby and like connected and was just in the chat room. So it wasn't like you couldn't, I don't remember if you could have a private chat room. I don't think that you could, but we were just like in one of the chat rooms. We were the only two in the chat room. So we started doing what middle school girls do. We started talking about our crushes. And, you know, what will I name him? I will name him K. K. I will name him K. So, we started talking about K in this public forum. We're just sitting there and we're talking, and my friend's like, oh, you know, because we're like looking at K in real time. We're like literally seeing what he's doing in real time. So we're just talking about him. And I'm just like, oh, K is so cute. Oh my goodness. I love the way he like does his hair, like, because that was like a thing that everybody did back in the day. Like all the boys, like all the little skater boys, they had like the haircuts and like the side swoops. So yeah, I don't know. I lived for it. So we're talking about K, and K's best friend enters the chat room. He enters the chat room and he's reading everything that we're saying about K, and he just puts me on blast. He's like, who is this that's talking about K? And I immediately am just like, I had to pause for a second and fix my butterflies, because when I did the hair swoop, it messed one of them up and it was getting on my nerves. Anyway, so it was in that moment that I knew I had messed up. I was like, why did I ever start talking about Kay on this public platform? And it was such an uncomfortable bus ride because he would not let it go. He was like, who is it? Who is it? So they spend the entire bus ride like trying to sniff out who it is. And I feel like maybe they knew it was me. But you know, I cannot confirm because I never actually talked to Kay. Never actually talked to Kay. It was just like, love from a distance. And so I remember getting off of the bus and just never wanting to ride the bus again. But clearly it's like I can't go up to my parent to say, Mom, Dad, I'm dropping out of school at the tender age of 12 because I've been exposed for having a crush on a guy. Like, no, I don't think that my parents would let me do that. So I knew that I had to, be a big girl and go to the bus the next day. But it was so awkward just for like an entire year because we all lived in the same neighborhood. So we all stood at the same bus stop. It was me, some other person, Kay, and Kay's best friend that was trying to play detective on that fateful day. So I felt very embarrassed because it was a little too close to home for me. But I was also like infuriated at the same time because my friend's crush was also on the bus and she didn't get exposed. Like nobody opened an investigation into her love life. So why was I the one that got caught slipping? Like, I don't know. It just really sucked. So I was the one who got caught. And after that, I was like, I'm never chatting on a DS again. Anything I have to say, it's I need to be able to ensure confidentiality. And if I had a sponsorship for like a VPN or something like that, this would be the perfect place for that. But I'm a baby YouTuber and I don't have a sponsorship for a VPN. So all I can say is make sure to keep your data secure. So there was definitely an embarrassing story that happened to me that's more of a negative memory. And even though it happened so long ago, I still practice acceptance for that because I remember feeling just really bad in the moment. And all I can do now is give myself some grace and say, you were 12, you didn't know that Nintendo was gonna expose you. So you live and you learn, because at this point it's like Kay is a complete non-factor in my life, and I am not gonna keep tripping over something that happened like years ago. So even if something embarrassing happened a long time ago, you can still practice acceptance for that and just, keep it moving. It's over. It's done with. I don't think like anybody on the bus even knows that like that's how I felt about that. Like that I was like really embarrassed and like sad that happened. So yeah, I don't know. Time does wonders. Moving along. The third way to be more intentional with your self-love journey is to monitor your inner dialogue and mind your words. So tap into the things that you are telling yourself. Are they uplifting or are they more damaging and destructive? There is definitely a difference if I'm telling myself things like, oh, I'm worthless, I'm useless, I can't do anything right, like I don't even know why I'm here, versus saying things like, I'm not great at everything, but there are like a few things that I'm pretty decent at, and there are people out there who love me. Like, maybe not everybody loves me, but there are some people who love me, and that's enough for me. So there's definitely a difference in how you feel when you are talking to yourself in an uplifting manner versus a manner that is more likely to bring down your mood and your self-worth. The fourth way to be more intentional is to incorporate self-care into your daily life. So I've actually done a full video on that. It was my very first YouTube video, so please refer to that video for multiple examples and a thorough discussion about self-care and incorporating that into your life. But a highlight from that video is that self-care should not be an afterthought. It should always be done with intention. I can't just, wake up and say, all right, I'm gonna grind through today, and if I have some time, I'm gonna spend like 2 seconds for myself. Like, no, we have to wake up and say, what am I needing today? What can I do for myself today? I don't know. It's just like we live a lot of our lives worrying about other people and what we can do for others. And it's nice just to shift some of that focus back to ourselves and say, instead of what can I do for others, what can I do for myself today, so that if I do want to focus on others, or I have to focus on others, I can better focus on them. It's kind of like that airline analogy, where if something's going wrong with the plane and the air masks are dropping, you should secure your own air mask first before you attempt to help anybody else with their air mask. Like, it doesn't matter if it is the person sitting next to you, and the person sitting next to you is like elderly or a baby. You cannot help them if you pass out from lack of oxygen. So yeah, I know it seems like a selfish thought if you are like securing your own air mask first, but like truly, scientifically, you will pass out and you literally won't be able to help anybody. So yeah, self-care has to be done with intention. I don't know what number we're on in terms of ways to be more intentional with self-care, but the next number, whatever it is to reflect on some of the qualities that make you and embrace them, because we spend a lot of time, comparing ourselves to others, and harping on maybe what we don't do well, because that's what sticks out to us a lot more than what we do well. And maybe you're not great at public speaking, but you're an amazing organizer. That is awesome, and that is valid. You don't have to be great at public speaking. Like, you are good at what you're good at, and maybe you have an active imagination and you have the next big thing just sitting in your mind that's gonna like take off and make billions of dollars. Like, that's awesome. And so too often we knock ourselves down on the basis of, well, we don't do this well enough, when we really should be praising ourselves for the fact that there are things that we know how to do and we can do them great. And even if there are things that we don't know how to do, these are the qualities that make us us. It's always weird when you say like the same word twice. Anyway, sorry, sidetrack. So that make us individualized, because the qualities that make you who you are, they make it so that you are essentially one of a kind. Like, even if there are other people who have similar qualities to you, like, there's no one who is exactly like you. There is no one who does what you do exactly like you, and there is no one who lives your life exactly as you do. So yeah, sometimes it's nice to just reflect on that and just think about what makes us who we are and how we are as one of a kind. So another thing that you can do to be more intentional on your self-love journey is to acknowledge and celebrate your accomplishments, because a lot of the time we either don't acknowledge our accomplishments, we just kind of brush it off like, oh, like, yeah, I won that big award, it was cool, or yeah, I just got like this huge promotion, like it's whatever. And it's like, what are you doing? If you don't hype yourself up over your achievements, like, there are probably other people who could, but it's like, you gotta be your number one fan. Like, you have to really be going hard and rooting for yourself. Like, yeah, I just got that big promotion, or yeah, I just came up with this new invention. Like, you've really got to embrace the great things that you were doing. And I sound like a whole life coach right now. That's not how I'm trying to come off. But what I'm saying is that a lot of the time we don't give ourselves the credit that we deserve. We try to downplay it. We try to be humble. And I understand, but like I said, especially if you are a person of color, like, if you don't toot your own horn, who is going to toot the horn for you? Like, toot, you have to do it. And the other piece of that conversation is, a lot of the time when we do share our achievements, it is to seek the validation of others. And so when I say acknowledge and celebrate your achievements, I more so mean internally. And it's like, it's okay if you share the great things that you're doing with others, but it's the best validation comes from within, because if we're always, sharing what we're doing and seeking that validation from others, they are our driving motivation to get things done. And if we don't feel as though our efforts have been received from them in the way that we would like them to be received, then that could be discouraging. So if we only post things for clicks and views and likes and all of these other things, all of these external measures, then if we don't meet what we feel is like a good amount of clicks or likes or shares or anything like that, then we might stop doing it, even though that's what we really love. So even when I post my accomplishments, I make sure that I've reveled in that accomplishment, shared it maybe with some close friends and family before I go public with it. And above all, I try to make sure that, I am happy, I feel fulfilled with the accomplishment, versus just immediately running to social media and being like, hey, look what I did, or hey, look what happened. So yeah, just some food for thought. Finally, my last tip for being more intentional with your self-love journey is to revisit something that I've previously spoken about, which is give yourself a hug. I have made it a habit to say it at the end of each video, just to reiterate how fulfilling it can be to feel your own warm embrace. Because it's like, really think about it. Like, when was the last time you gave yourself a hug? It's something that's so simple that can take 2 seconds out of your day. Because as we've learned from the pandemic, it's very mind-boggling to not be able to touch other people, whether it's a handshake, a high five, or just have that sense of connection. And so just giving yourself a hug is something that you can do and still follow social distancing guidelines, because you can't social distance from yourself. So yeah, that brings me to the end of another video. I had a blast recording this video. I like including the little mini story times, so let me know if you like the little story times. And yeah, I hope that you liked what I had to say on the topic of self-love. And regardless of where you are in your journey, I would love to hear about it in the comments below, talking about maybe some of the progress that you've made, or if you're just starting, some things that you hope to accomplish throughout your self-love journey. So I would love to hear about that, and I hope that if you liked what I had to say, that you will consider liking this video, giving it a thumbs up, and subscribing to join the virtual party. And I will pop my Instagram over here so that you can give that a follow if you would like. And that's about it from me. So Jazz out. Don't forget to drink some water and give yourself a hug.